Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Soccer Podcast, Australia's #1 soccer talk show. My name's Shannon, and for this episode, I'm joined by Alex Smith. We're going to be doing some Premier League tipping for Matchweek 23. Alex, welcome to the Soccer Podcast.
Cheers, mate. Good to be here.
It's great to be here. Very exciting to be doing some tipping. All right, let's start with the first game. All the tipping is obviously in preparation for Wednesday morning's game. The first game being between Arsenal and Cardiff City. What's your tip for that game?
I'm going with Arsenal. I think despite how poorly they played against United this morning, I think they'll bounce back and get a result against Cardiff, who have been struggling as of late. So I'll tip Arsenal.
Yeah, the last time I said Arsenal would be too strong, that was in the game against West Ham, and obviously they lost, of course. But for this game, Arsenal at home at the Emirates, I really do think for Cardiff that they have too much quality to not get the 3 points, Alex. I think they have to win if they want to keep place for the top four. And Cardiff City, they now in the drop zone, they're struggling. They're away from home. They've got some players that can cause Arsenal difficulty, but I just think Arsenal, when they're at their free-flowing best, which they normally are, they should get the job done. So I'm going for an Arsenal win. Lacazette, Aubameyang, scoring goals, having a great fun. It did had a massive win against Chelsea. So I think they're going to be looking to back that up now against Cardiff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'll probably agree with you on that one. Moving on, we've got the next game is Brighton away to Fulham. Very interesting game. Who you got in that one?
Yeah, that game is a very interesting game because they two teams that are in the bottom half of the table, obviously Fulham themselves, second bottom now, really needing a win. They're at home. Ranieri's obviously, he said he'll take points anywhere, which he will. But I think against Brighton, it's a game that they should be looking to win. Brighton, they've lost their last two games. They have been not too bad this season, Brighton, but I just think Fulham, they've got the players to hurt Brighton. Brighton, I think, will have a tough game, but I can see this one being a draw. So I'm going to go with a draw on this one, Alex. What are your thoughts?
I think I'm going to tip Fulham. I think they've been playing half decent football. They've just been let down by a bit of luck and a bit of, I think the last game they scored 2 own goals. So I'll tip Fulham at home in this one. I think, Ranieri's going to start to get him playing the way he wants and doing the things that he wants him to do. So I'll go with Fulham on this one.
Yeah, the impact of Ranieri, I haven't really seen that start to work as yet. Obviously, he came in and there's all this talk about, can he keep Fulham up and, the solidarity. And he said he wanted to stop them shipping goals at the back. But I think, you alluded to the point they scored 2 own goals last week. If you look at their back line, Alex, I mean, things just have not improved at all since Ranieri's come in. Elfie Mawson, centre-half, Fosu Mensah, Callum Chambers, all very capable players. But they somehow haven't got it working at the back there for whatever reason. I think it's going to be much of the same, and that's why I've gone with the draw. But let's talk a little bit about the next game, which is another struggling team. Huddersfield play Everton.
Huddersfield at home. I think that's not really going to matter too much. I'll tip Everton to get 3 points. Very inconsistent from them during the season, but I just think this is a game that they'll feel that they should win, and they'll be looking to bounce back from a couple of inconsistent results, and I think they'll take 3 points.
That's right. I mean, Everton, they lost, I think, last week to Southampton, looking to bounce back. But Huddersfield, I think they haven't won in about 8 games now, and they're bottom of the league with only 11 points. So they really are struggling. And I dare say, Alex, that Huddersfield, will be relegated at the end of the season. There's just no way that they can get themselves out of there right now. I think when you look at their team, they do look to play football, which, credit must be given to them for that. But I think defensively, they got too many issues at the back. And going forward as well, obviously there's no Moy. They've got one or two other players, but it's that killer instinct which they lack in front of goal. I mean, Mooney and even Depotre, they don't get enough goals in that team. So when you put those two components of the game together, defence and attack, they're just struggling. I think Everton, they've got way too much quality. They're going to control that midfield with players like Sigurdsson, the form that he's in. I just think they've got way too much quality. But let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, another very interesting game. Probably the game of the round. Looking at it, we've got Wolves at home to West Ham. Who you got in that one?
It's a difficult one, looking at this game because obviously these are very capable teams. I think Wolves last week they showed good signs coming back. Well, they started the game so brightly, but then they allowed the opposition Leicester to really get back in the game. So it was a test to carry for them, but at the end they managed to take all 3 points. They are at home. They're playing some good football. They're not going to want to let West Ham get back in the game this week. That's for sure. I think West Ham very inconsistent. They had a big win two games ago, but then obviously they didn't manage to back it up last week. I think against Wolves they probably will struggle. I think Wolves, they try and get the ball down, play, stretch the opposition. They're going to look to control the game as well. And the link-up play, I know I spoke about this last week, between Jimenez and Doherty and Neves. They got so much talent in that Wolves side. I think Jimenez will probably score. And I think Jota is a player to look out for in that West Ham game. But I think Wolves, for me, Alex, over West Ham. What's your tip?
I'm going to go with the draw on this one. I think West Ham tend to play better against better teams, and especially teams that like to play football. We saw that with the result against Arsenal a couple of weeks ago. Again, they'll be looking to bounce back from a poor loss last weekend against Bournemouth. Wolves, they had no business letting Leicester back in that game. I just think they're not quite there yet. They turned a rout into, a very close, nail-biting, 4-3 win. So I just think that I can't really split the two teams. So that generally means I've got to go with a draw. So we'll go with a draw for that game.
And obviously West Ham do have the attacking quality in their team to, cause Wolves problems. I mean, Leicester, they were 2-0 down, but again, managed to get themselves back in the game. I think with the talent that West Ham have could cause Wolves problems. But obviously that's going to have been something that Nuno would have worked on with his team, not allowing the opposition to get back into the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a quality manager, and I love his passion. It's going to be something they've worked on at training, but I just think it's a bit up in the air with both teams, and those types of games tend to end in draws. So, something probably West Ham would be happy with, and I think Wolves will be expecting to win, but a point's probably what's going to happen for me.
Okay, let's talk about your team, Manchester United. They play against Burnley, and they're at Old Trafford. What's your tip? I think I know already, but let's hear it from you.
Well, I don't know how anyone could tip against them at the moment. Even the neutral. It's a fast moving train, and I don't see it. I don't see it stopping at home against Burnley. Pace, youth, it's just they just have it in abundance. And when it's running at you for 90 minutes, like Solskjaer's got them, just attacking. For the entire 90 minutes, I don't think I can't see Burnley keeping them out for that long. So 3 points for United, and the streak continues, hopefully.
Yeah, well, they did very well, Manchester United, this morning, obviously beating Arsenal, and Sanchez getting a goal as well against his former club. Martial as well, scoring, all that pace that you talked about. But for me, my tip as well, Manchester United, I think they're going to take that winning streak to 8 games now. Very, very impressive in the Premier League, and they got a lot to look forward to. This is a game that they are expected, obviously, to win. They're at home. They're playing exciting, expansive football. A lot of the players, they've got that freedom and they enjoying their football. And this is what happens, Alex. You know, they're going to take the 3 points against Burnley, and I don't think Burnley will cause them too many problems either. I don't think they have the quality to do so.
No, I don't think so. I just think, it'd be such a good feeling around the group at United. If he gets Sanchez to start playing, it's basically a world-class signing without even having to make a signing, because he hasn't been anywhere the past 6 months. So it's like they almost did a bit of business in January when they signed Solskjaer. They actually got a player back as well. So I don't think the train stops here. They were brilliant this morning, and Pogba. I've been critical of him in the past, but he's obviously a player that needs an arm around his shoulder and a pat on the back and well done and all that sort of stuff. And he's been playing really, really good football as of late. So United to keep on rolling, but we'll keep on rolling as well.
Just on Sanchez, though, before we move on to the next game, I mean, he's been at Manchester United now for a year. I think just a few days ago was the anniversary since he arrived, but he's been missing. He's been found wanting at times, and now he's come into the team. He obviously had incentive to perform with the wages that he's on, but not only that, against his former club. And now I think if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you'd throw him in there surely against Burnley just to continue that rich vein of form that he showed this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd keep playing him. Barring that he does well at training this week. I don't see why not. I think they signed him for a reason. I think his wages, are out of this world, but you need to try and get everything you can out of him. Like I said, he's been a new player since Solskjaer came in. So hopefully he does chuck him in and keeps it continuing. But we'll continue. We've got Man City away to Newcastle. I think I know your tip for this one, but you can go ahead.
It's Manchester City, Alex, for sure. I think Newcastle, they're just going to struggle. There's no doubt about that. I think Manchester City, they tend to do well against Newcastle. They back, obviously, in form. They got consecutive wins under their belt, and they've just got so much talent in the side now. And Newcastle, they've improved over the last few weeks, no doubt, but much too much quality for Manchester City. For me, I think Aguero, we saw what he did to get the team into the Carabao Cup final now against Chelsea. He's scoring. Jesus is starting to find a little bit of rhythm as well. And as I say, consecutive wins, confidence rising. The style of play for me is critical for Manchester City, and for that reason, I have to tip Manchester City to take all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think home and away really matters for City, to be honest. This is actually the weekend I think they'll make up some ground on Liverpool. So to do that, I would obviously have to be tipping a win for City. So we'll talk more about that later on in the show, I'm sure. But City to win quite comfortably.
All right, let's talk about the next game. We've got Bournemouth versus Chelsea. What's your tip for that one?
I'm going to tip a draw on this one. I just think Chelsea, they just haven't convinced me over the last 2-3 weeks. Bournemouth coming off a good result against West Ham, a good team defensively. If it's Higuain's sort of second game, first start in the Premier League, he might take a bit of time to get to know his teammates in a game situation. So Bournemouth at home as well. I just think there's a lot of things in Bournemouth's favour to get a point out of the game. So I'll go with a draw.
Yeah, I have to go obviously with Chelsea, even though they are away from home. Bournemouth coming off a big result for them last week where they didn't concede, and obviously both their strikers, King and Wilson, both got a goal each. But I just think, Alex, Chelsea, if they want to maintain that top four berth, they've got to get a win here away from home at Bournemouth. They've just really got it. Higuain, I think, will give all the players a boost of confidence. I think, when you're playing with Morata or Giroud up front and the players in behind don't really have the confidence that their striker's going to score, I think it makes a difference. Now with Higuain, they got that world-class striker who has arrived at the club. They're going to want to make him get off to the best start possible. Obviously, Sarri as well is coming up under a little pressure now, criticising the players publicly in the media as well about their mentality, especially against Arsenal. I think that was really backed up with their win against Tottenham. And I think they have to continue in that vein of form. I think they have to win this game to keep that place in the top four, especially with Man United and Arsenal doing so well now.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit more to that Chelsea story. I saw some comments after the cup game from Hazard, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem like everything's rosy in the Chelsea camp. So I could be completely wrong, but there's a little bit of doubt there for me, and it's enough. There's just enough factors in this game to tip Bournemouth getting a result. So, they've got the quality, Chelsea. It's just a case of how bad they want it, and can they back it up after a pretty exciting win in the cup. It's tough to win a penalty shootout and get to a final of a trophy, and then go away to Bournemouth and play with the same intensity. So I just feel Bournemouth, if they get a goal early, they might surprise a few people, but we'll see. We'll go on to the next one. We've got Southampton at home to Crystal Palace. Pretty big game in the bottom half of the table. So interested to hear what you've got to say about that one.
Yeah, it's tough. I think Southampton. How often do you tip Southampton? I've gone to tip Southampton for this one. I think two. Yeah, well, you do tend to tip Southampton, but they are on the rise now. They've done really, really well in the last few games, Alex. I think the last two games they've won. Crystal Palace, the same can't be said for them, though they lost their last game. And, it's difficult for Palace. I feel for them at times because they do play some good football and they do take the game to the opposition. They've got some quality players in that team, with Townsend, Mitrovic, obviously Wilfried Zaha, who's also been linked with a move away to even Borussia Dortmund. But they do have quality in that team. But I just think Southampton, their confidence is starting to come. The new manager's obviously doing something right since Hughes got sacked. But I think Southampton will take the 3 points against Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace, despite all those players that I've just spoken about and the football that they do play, for some reason they don't manage to grind out the results. And against Liverpool last weekend, they lost 4-3. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, how many teams can go to Liverpool this season, conceding as few goals as Liverpool have, and really cause them trouble? So I feel for them at times. Their performances haven't been too bad, but the table suggests otherwise, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are two teams that'll be okay this season. I think they'll both stay up. Fairly similar. They've got quality players. They just haven't managed to put it all together consistently throughout the season. I think a draw is probably something that's going to happen. I think Southampton have been playing great football, but I just think Palace to show up, those key players anyway, and provide a little bit of quality and maybe a 1-1. If I had to tip a winner, I'd tip Southampton, but I just think it's going to end in a draw. So a good result for both teams, really.
All right, and Liverpool play Leicester, another big game in this round. Alex, what's your tip for that one?
I'm going to tip a draw on this one as well. I think Leicester showed a lot of fight last week. Liverpool have just been scraping through. I feel like they've had a lot of 1-0s, a lot of 4-3s, a lot of 3-2s. And I just think this is the weekend that their luck runs out. Leicester will go away to Liverpool. Very defensive mindset. They'll sit in. I just think Leicester is gonna trouble them on the break, and come away with a point from this game, and hopefully blow the title race open again.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Originally I was thinking, which way do I go in this game? Because I really do believe, Alex, that at some point Liverpool are going to drop points. But, they, against Leicester, they should win. But Leicester as well, they can cause teams problems. But obviously last week they suffered that defeat against Wolves. So I'm kind of torn here. I mean, it's all about a question of, are Liverpool going to be able to turn it on for how much longer before they do slip up? Obviously, Manchester City are really sitting on their heels. They're looking to kind of take advantage of any slip up. So it's a tough one for me because Liverpool know going into this game that they play a very good, a very capable Leicester team, but they also know that Manchester City are sitting on their heels. So they want to win it. They want to maintain their position at the top. But Leicester at the same time can cause them problems. Jamie Vardy, one or two other players. They're the best counter-attacking football team in the league. And Liverpool, they may just have the players to deal with that. So I'm very much torn, Alex, because I just don't know. I think Liverpool at home, all the fans, all the support, it's got to count for something. But I'm just not sure. I probably would have to say it's either going to be a Liverpool win or a draw, but I definitely don't see Leicester going there and taking all 3 points. So if I have to make a tip, yeah, I'm probably going to go with Liverpool. I'll just go with Liverpool. I think the front three could just get the job done. But I see your point, Alex. I think Leicester very capable. And how long can Liverpool's run continue before they do indeed slip?
Yeah, I think they've. I've watched a few of their games, and it's just not quite ticking as it should be. If you're, they've had an unbelievable season. 4 points clear, but that could very easily have been. They could very easily be sitting in second place. Some of the games I've seen, 1-0 wins and all that sort of stuff. 4-3s with a red card and all that kind of thing. So I just think this is the weekend that maybe they slip up. I've just got a feeling.
When you talk about that, it's not quite ticking, that's the word used. The counter argument could be, and I mean, I don't know, is that maybe this is a different Liverpool that we're seeing to previous years. Maybe this is the Liverpool Championship Premier League winning team because they are maybe just being a championship team and being able to now grind out some of these results. You mentioned winning 1-0. Winning 4-3 against Crystal Palace last week, and maybe they might not be ticking, but and it all coming together like in previous years. But in previous years, we know that they've always fell short. So maybe this is them grinding out results.
Yeah, I mean, I tipped them last week. I think to win the league. So I still think they're going to win. But I just have a feeling they might slip up this weekend with a draw, and I think it'll be every team needs a wake up call at the right time, and I think this will, if the result does go the way I think it's going to go, I think that'll be it, and I don't see them, dropping too many points the rest of the season. So, who knows? At home, safe bet would be to tip Liverpool, but let's have a bit of fun on the show anyway.
All right, well, let's move to the last game. We've got Tottenham versus Watford. Alex, what is your tip for that one?
It's another tough game to tip. Tottenham, I think injury crisis is definitely a good adjective to describe the situation at the moment at Tottenham. Watford playing some really good football, getting some really good results. I think this one could end in a draw as well. I've tipped a few draws this week, but I just think there's a lot of games you can't really pick the difference between two sides based on form and other factors. So Llorente will be buzzing coming off a very good header against Chelsea. So hopefully he can do the business for Tottenham, like I've sort of backed him to do. But Watford, a quality team. I'll be erring to the side of Tottenham because they're at home, but I think I'll stick with my guns and go with a draw.
Okay, you've gone with the draw. I have to go with a Tottenham win, Alex. I think, it's going to be a very tight game, very, very tight encounter, that's for sure. Obviously, there's a number of factors to take into account with this one. Tottenham playing some good football, obviously in third place at the moment, coming off the win last week, but then losing in the Carabao Cup to Chelsea. And then you've got Watford as well, who have had a terrific season. No one expected them to be where they are. They're playing some great attacking football. Defensively, they haven't been too bad either. But then obviously another consideration is, Harry Kane's not there. And, one thing I want to make clear is that, when we talk about Kane and Llorente, I never doubted the front of goals as Harry Kane. So when you talk about these two teams going head-to-head this week, Tottenham, Watford, Llorente, he's going to have some confidence from scoring against Chelsea, but I just think had Harry Kane been playing, I think I would have had more confidence in going with a Tottenham result. But nevertheless, I have gone with a Tottenham result, Alex. I think they've got too much quality, that balance in the team. Lloris and their centre halves, obviously, but also you've got Lucas Moura and Lamela and Ericsson all in form. So to add to Llorente up front, I think Tottenham will just edge it. I don't expect it to be by a 2 or 3-0 goal margin. I think if anything, maybe 1-0 or 2-1, that kind of scoreline.
Fair enough. I just think I think they've had so many injuries. It becomes a bit of a stigma at the club. All of us. Why us? How can this keep happening? It can work one of two ways. It can really galvanize the players that are healthy, or it can really sort of put you in a down mood. And I just think after the last weekend's result against Chelsea, they'd sort of feel like. Maybe it's just not our year, and coming off that, I just can see him slipping up at home.
Okay, and just lastly, before we go, Alex, did you manage to read that Graham Souness article? I'm very glad that he agrees with me. Just talking about our world-class discussions last week in that episode between Harry Kane and Llorente and what Tottenham need. I said that Tottenham needed to make another world-class signing. Obviously, you didn't feel like there's too many world-class players going around, which there aren't. I agree with you. But what did you make of that, Graham Souness, thinking Tottenham need that world-class player?
Oh, he talks quite a bit. He's been saying Pogba is one of the worst players, in the league for the whole season. I don't think he's worth what he's worth, but you've seen over the last sort of 2 months when he's been happy and in patches at the start of the season how amazing of a player is. I mean, you can't get the ball off him. So for me, his credibility it's not really there. A lot of those ex-players, they come on and say a few things that are, I don't know, a bit crazy. So they get a few headlines and stay relevant. So, look, I think it's more of a club decision than a manager decision. I think they've had a plan, and Llorente would have been part of those plans if something did happen to Kane. And obviously, if they could, I would say 100% go out and get one. I mean, why wouldn't you? But I just don't think it's a feasible option at this point.
All right. Well, that's our tips, everyone, from the Soccer Podcast. I really enjoyed speaking to you, Alex. And before we go as well, a few of the fans, Alex, apparently base their tips off our show. So I was very pleased to learn that.
Oh, yikes. I hope you're not putting too much money on them.
Anyway, everyone, from the Soccer Podcast, Australia's #1 soccer talk show, it's goodbye for now.